Good morning. It's a new day, and here are your little things for the day.
Celebration.
On March 9th, in 1454, Amerigo Vespucci was born, who became one of history's most influential navigators and cartographers, proving that the lands discovered by Columbus were actually part of a new continent and not Asia, leading to the Americas being named after him. Vespucci actually began his career as a banker, and later as a commercial agent for the powerful Medici family of Florence, managing their ship outfitting business in Seville, Spain, which gave him the connections and knowledge that eventually enabled his famous voyages of exploration. In 1934, Yuri Gagarin was born, who became the first human to journey into outer space aboard the Vostok 1 spacecraft on April 12, 1961, completing a 106-minute orbital flight that marked a historic milestone in space exploration and the space race. According to some sources, Gagarin was actually not the Soviet Union's first choice for the historic flight. He was selected just 4 days before launch, when he and fellow cosmonaut German Titov were the final candidates, with Gagarin ultimately chosen partly because of his modest height of 5 feet 5 inches, which better fit the small Vostok capsule's cockpit. In 1943, Fischer was born, who became the youngest chess grandmaster at age 15, dominated the chess world with an unprecedented 20-game winning streak against elite players in 1970 and 1971, and defeated Boris Spassky in 1972 to become the first, and until today, only American world chess champion during the Cold War era. Fischer spent years studying Soviet chess games and strategies, and taught himself to read Russian specifically to study Soviet chess publications that weren't available in English at the time. His extreme behavior, such as his refusal to defend his title and his extreme comments, in particular against Jews, led to disputes, conflicts, and speculations about his psychological condition. In 1947, Keri was born, who became the first New Zealand author to win the prestigious Booker Prize with her polarizing novel The Bone People, 1984, revolutionizing Maori literature by weaving together indigenous mythology with contemporary storytelling. Lived most of her adult life in a remote house she built herself in the small settlement at the Okarito Lagoon and supported herself through various jobs before her literary success.
Remembrance.
On March 9th in 1994, Charles Bukowski died, who became one of America's most influential underground writers, known for his raw, unfiltered poetry and prose that chronicled the gritty realities of working-class life, alcoholism, and social alienation through works like Post Office and Notes of a Dirty Old Man. Bukowski worked at the Los Angeles Post Office for 13 years and developed several systems for betting on horses at the racetrack that he hoped would pay his bills, as writing was a part-time activity for him until 1969. In 1997, the Notorious B.I.G. was murdered, who revolutionized East Coast hip-hop with his masterful storytelling abilities, distinctive deep voice, and effortless flow, becoming one of rap's most influential figures through landmark albums like Ready to Die and the posthumously released Life After Death. Before his music career, Christopher Wallace was an excellent student at Queen of All Saints Middle School in Brooklyn, where he won several awards for his English skills, and he maintained straight A's before dropping out of high school at age 17. Also, on March 9th, in 1776, Adam Smith published An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations in London, a groundbreaking economic treatise that systematically analyzed and popularized understanding of market economies through concepts like the invisible hand, division of labor, and free market capitalism, fundamentally shaping modern economic thought and policy. The manuscript was actually completed 5 years earlier, but Smith delayed its publication to extensively revise it while staying in Kirkcaldy, Scotland. In 1841, the United States Supreme Court ruled in the landmark Amistad case that 53 kidnapped Africans who had seized control of their slave ship had been taken into slavery illegally and had the right to use force to secure their freedom, marking a significant victory for the abolitionist movement. The case's successful outcome was partly due to an unexpected linguistic breakthrough, when Yale professor Josiah Willard Gibbs learned to count to 10 in Mend, the African's native language, and walked the New York City docks reciting these numbers, until he found James Covey, a former slave who spoke Mend and became the crucial interpreter for the defendant's testimony. In 1959, Mattel unveiled the Barbie doll at the American International Toy Fair in New York, introducing one of the world's most successful mass-produced adult-figured fashion dolls that would revolutionize the toy industry and become a global cultural icon. The first Barbie doll was actually inspired by a German adult novelty toy called Bild Lilly that Mattel co-founder Ruth Handler discovered while vacationing in Switzerland in 1956, and she purchased 3 of these risque dolls, which were sold in tobacco shops and adult stores, to serve as the prototype for what would become the more family-friendly Barbie.
Curiosity.
In 1997, the notorious B.I.G. was fatally shot in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles while leaving a Vibe magazine party at the Peterson Automotive Museum, when another vehicle pulled alongside his GMC Suburban at a red light and fired 4 shots, with the 4th bullet proving fatal, marking a tragic end to one of hip-hop's most influential artists at the age of 24. The shooting occurred just hours after B.I.G. had given what would be his final interview to a local radio station, where he spoke about being in the middle of the East Coast-West Coast rivalry and gave ambiguous answers about Tupac's death. Earlier that evening, the fire marshal had shut down the party early due to overcrowding, an unexpected development that altered the timing of B.I.G.'s departure.
Thank you for listening. Help someone in need today and live up to your values. Have a good day.